Hey, hey. All right, so Libras, let's go ahead and jump on in. I hope you guys are doing great. Here we go. We are starting out with a message. It begins with some healing, and we have our chaos hippo here. In the Egyptian context, ancient Egypt, they looked at the hippo as a personification of chaos and something to be like not afraid of, but rather to like master. And then this kind of gives us the idea that someone is possibly lounging a bit, possibly resting from the chaos, but resting in the belly of the chaos itself. Now, I don't know how to interpret that just yet, but we need to pay close attention to that. Either somebody's life is like really busy, and this is like their little, what do they call it? The insomnia room. If we're super stressed or something and we can't sleep, we go into like a nice little reading nook or something, and sometimes that takes the pressure off instead of laying in bed, stressing, saying I'm supposed to be sleeping but I'm all worried. Instead it's like, well, give yourself a different energy, different space, different quiet space. Turn on a little light, read a little something, get your mind off of the stress of the day plus the extra stress of not falling asleep, and then see what happens. This feels like we have a character who is managing their stress quite well. Now, the stress seems to be about which route do I take? Which route somebody could be stressing pretty heavy over Libra and they're having some sleepless nights, or they're taking cat naps in the day, or they're just trying to function, because this is about what choice am I going to make. That two of well, in this case it's two of wands. Which direction am I going to go? They could be a Leo, doesn't have to be. Gosh, this is somebody who is feeling like I know that there really aren't blockages. I could go whichever route. I could do this. So why aren't you, honey? This doesn't seem to be too much about Libra right now. Okay, Three of Swords. This person says there aren't any real blockages. I could go. I mean, maybe this is Libra. We did start out with Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy on our chaos hippo, but let me just hold off identifying just yet, because our storyline just opens with somebody who knows that they have the ability to go either direction, and they're kind of silent, and they're kind of like getting their calm, getting their peace. But even as I say that, getting their calm and peace, I mean, look at this fireplace, it's this raging little monster face. All of that looks a little disconcerting, but they're acknowledging there's nothing holding me here. There's nothing preventing me from going a different route except heartbreak. And one area has heartbreak, but it's almost like the heartbreak is, I know somebody isn't thinking of me anymore. Did Libra break somebody's heart because they say Libra's not thinking about me anymore and I should move on and I should just go be with somebody else? I know Libra doesn't want me, but I'm still heartbroken over Libra. Okay, we have a lot of missed communication here, a lot of confusion. First off, she doesn't have a head, and he is pretty much completely missing. We have a situation here where two people did not communicate, and instead tried to be really stoic, but didn't actually explain what was going on. And I think in this storyline, I'm actually leaning right now towards saying it might be Libra who's telling themselves this. Like, there's no reason for me to not just forget about this person and move on. Like, I know I've been healing and stuff, and there's nothing blocking me from letting this go, other than it still hurts me that I know that they don't even care about me. And I honestly, and this storyline, if this is our Libra, I think Libra has no clue what was really going on with that other person in this story, right? There is, let me see why the Emperor is here, because I almost look at that as like the magistrate, somebody who needs to come in and be the mediator and give advice. Okay, we've got the Hierophant here, and it is sideways. This is, I'm going to argue right now that neither Libra nor whomever this other person is, by the way, they could be a fire sign, they could be a Sagittarius, they could be an Aries. They could also, though, be a Taurus with some earth energy coming in. And I'm sorry, I know this card is horrendous. These are my baby puppy teeth from when Aries was little, though. And so I still like it. But regardless, whether Aries had chewed on this card or not, look at how like dreadful the card truly is. Normally, a Hierophant is wonderful because it can be our connection to our higher selves, things that we believe in can be beautiful things, but it can also be dogma and not being allowed to think for ourselves and being, like the authorities tell us how it's going to be, whether or not we like it or agree with it, and we have our autonomy taken from us. This card, even if it were upright, I still wouldn't read it very nice. And the fact that it's all frayed and the fact that it's sideways means we have characters not able to even connect with their higher selves. And this is two people are trying to be very stoic and say, you know what? I know Libra doesn't care about me. And so there's no point in me crying over it because, Libra's fine that I'm gone. And Libra's over here saying, I know that, there's no reason for me to still kind of cling to the remnants of this because although I'm still wounded, I know that they don't care about me. They never think of me. That's what they're both telling themselves. I know that you never think of me. When in fact, both of them are trying to be really stoic about this, and both of them have got this all wrong. They're telling themselves messages that are not coming from their higher selves in this story. Okay, universe, let's get some help from the universe on this. What is the advice here then? We have got a 5 of Pentacles in the reverse, but we also have this 7 of Swords. When both people are lying and acting like it's fine, I don't need them anyway, I'm fine without them. I didn't lose out on anything when we stopped talking. It doesn't matter. What there is this huge, massive disconnect. Look, I'm starting to wonder. You notice that we have this bird who's got this little, birds are messengers, but it's the skeleton of a bird. Did he send a message to her and she never got it? Is that what this is? Because why is the little skeleton bird holding a message, staring at her, but clearly she never received it? Is that why we have such wounded energy? Did a message not get through to the other person? Something that would have opened up dialogue. Is that why we have them in complete confusion, both faking like this is fine, it doesn't matter anymore, when in fact, I feel like he sent her a message. Tell me, is that the way to look at that? We have the star here. Star can be, like something more visible, though. It could have been, look, I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say, because this can be at a great distance, there could have been, travel and time between them. That may mean that if there was conversation attempted, think of the chances for a message not to arrive. There's electronic problems, there's email problems, there's all kinds of things that can happen. And if we only send a message one time, we don't hear anything back, and we go, well, I sent it, so obviously they don't like me, they don't want to hear from me. If he can't entertain the idea that what if she never got it and we're at a great distance, I don't know. And if he tried to send it across a great distance and maybe only kind of tried it once, it does beg the question, did you put in enough effort? Don't you want to be sure that she receives it so then you can know without a doubt? Or shouldn't there be some kind of opportunity for these two to actually say what they need to say? Because my impression right now is that a message was sent that was never received, and that has caused the entirety of this mess. We have characters who don't know what the other one is thinking, and they're both trying to say, I need to move on. I'm moving on. There's nothing blocking me. But there's like this weird disbelief, like, I just can't believe that they would end it this way, though. Really? I have no idea. And then he's over there. Let's ask, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? The Tower, he's thinking, well, that's that. It's over. But also his ego has fallen, if there was ego involved. Oof. Yeah, because it was very ego deflating. This is 10 swords. This is, it's over. I know that it's over. And I'm trying to find balance in all this with the Temperance. But it's really hard with the 7 of Wands. It's really hard to accept that this is the way it ends. So he did send a message. He had to have. For him to be saying it's really over. Ace of Swords. Yeah, he sent a message and he said something that was very straightforward and very clear. Where did the message go? Where did the message go? A page. Well, he entrusted it to some like unsteady method. Look, pages are children and they are our messengers. But let's say kids fumble, kids fall down all the time, right? So if we think of it that way, I would definitely say it could have been, heck, we're still in Mercury retrograde right now. But it could have even been like sending a message during a time where electronics go down, phones have glitches, updates occur, things get lost. I mean, heck, I was merrily doing videos to earlier this week, not knowing that there was no audio. It just disappeared in the middle of me recording while I was recording and while I was live. And I did not know it. And I had proceeded to do 3 videos actually with no audio. Sometimes you think everything's going merry along your merry way, and it's not at all. So anything that was wobbly, a page's amount of energy, especially for something this important, don't entrust something this important. It should have been an eyeball to eyeball communication is what he probably needed to do, but he maybe couldn't because there was a distance here. So this person believes that he sent a message, but I'm going to say Libra didn't receive it. Would it have changed things had Libra received it? Yeah, a Libra would have responded. Sometime this year, we have this is still Year of the Dragon, and this is another page of wands. Yes, in fact, it could have made Libra like literally turn in surprise and be like, wow, huh. There's certainly a spark of an idea of something I'd want to respond with. This would have opened up dialogue. Okay, so hold on. What is the advice here? Because if there has been some kind of missed communication between two people and they're both kind of shell-shocked here, saying, I can't, I know I got to let it go. And they're both in that same energy of like, it's okay, it'll be fine. I just got to move on. I'm finding peace in the middle of the chaos. And it's, I'm not sleeping so good sometimes. And I sit up at night and stare into the fireplace a little bit. And I tell myself it's time to move on. I keep telling myself this was not meant to be. I keep telling myself, but my heart won't agree. No matter how many times I keep telling myself, I know there's nobody else. That's that song by Julio Iglesias. Love that song. We have a 5 of Swords. These two had a fight. Their communication has been their weak link all this time. It still is, right? And now they have this obstacle of if they had a fight and one of them walked away and then he did try to reach out later and she didn't get the message. I said, what's the advice here? And it says, address the 5 of Swords. And I hate to be so blunt about this, but if he knows that they had a fight that was significant enough that she walked away and he's like, oh God, she didn't understand what I said. She didn't understand what I meant. That's not the way I meant it. She's mad at me. Okay, let me send her a message. And then she doesn't respond. In particular, do you leave it there? Do you say, because she didn't understand what I meant, and that might change things if she could hear it in the way I meant it. I sent a message once to explain it though, and she didn't respond. What does he really think she would have typically done? Because we have the Death and the Rebirth card here. Do you let it go and just say, okay, well, I guess it's over. I assume since we had a fight and then I tried maybe to communicate, her staying away from me is just over, it's done? Or is it time to think about like, okay, let's say she still doesn't want to talk to me. Let me consider at the heart of everything, why didn't she respond to me? Now we know she didn't get the message. There was this message never arrived to her. Either someone intercepted it, someone unstable, heck, maybe a kid got the mail and threw the mail away if it was snail mail, or a kid deleted, an email or something without knowing that was important. Whatever it was, this disappeared and didn't make it into her hands. But in this story, our masculine is being asked Okay, so say you assume that you sent her a letter and she didn't respond and she's still mad at you. Maybe this is a great time to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, hang on. How heinous was all this? You know, maybe my apology or maybe my explanation wasn't sufficient. So she is still hurt. She is still mad. She still doesn't want to talk to me because it was that big of a deal. So wait a second. What needs to change here? What is it that I'm doing wrong that makes it impossible for her to like forgive this or want to talk to me again? It doesn't, I don't mean this to like lay all this, heap all this problem onto his shoulders. His, hers, it doesn't matter what genders we're talking about. This could be same-sex couple. But it does say, if we think we tried to explain something and that person still didn't want to hear from us, it didn't change anything, do we just say, okay, well, I guess it's over and forever it's done? Or do we maybe now think a little deeper about it and go, okay, apparently this really hit them hard that they're this upset with me and they won't even accept, a conversation or an apology about it. So let me see, how can I consider this differently? This Knight of Wands is, it's the energy of bouncing in and out. I don't know if somebody was kind of behaving like a player, if maybe they needed to consider that their energy had looked that way to her, seemed disrespectful or seemed erratic, or if their thoughts are going all over the place. It's time to take charge of things and maybe try to speak. This is about the remedy for this situation. How could the situation be changed? Because clearly neither one of them can let this go, and they're both lying, acting like they can. She's over here saying, I have no idea. I just know that they never spoke to me again. He's over here saying, I don't know, she just walked away from me, and even though I sent a message, she didn't respond. We know she didn't get it. So how do they fix it? By addressing the original issue, their communication, and not trying to send messages, but change the method of communication. Maybe it's too erratic. Maybe these two need to say, try another, like open a mouth, speak at least so that I know my voice is getting to your ear. Do you want to communicate with me about this? Because this feels like the wrong way to leave it. Even if it's just to own the problem and say, I just need you to know that I'm sorry about what happened. I know you didn't respond to the letter that I sent, but I need to let you know so that at least we can end this properly. It almost feels like that might be the only way around this. And that could be the total remedy here. Instead of just trying to randomly send messages and trust that this bird or this little kid, this little page is going to deliver the message and not get distracted by adorable fox babies in the forest and start petting them and then lose the letter that they were supposed to deliver. Maybe it's time for somebody to pick up the phone and say, all right, the letters aren't working. So I need to hear your voice and you got to hear mine. I need to say, I'm sorry. We need to turn the page. I think that could be I think they could both be stunned. It's like, wait, what? I didn't know you talked to me. I didn't hear anything from you. She clearly did not get this, but I think this would change everything. For these two to really put in the effort to communicate, that would change everything. Whether or not they can be good together, happily ever after together, I don't know. I can only say that in this case, unless there's been a closure, voice to voice, this storyline isn't over until that happens. And in this case, it looks like if they do that, it's not over. It looks like it actually, this is where things could finally, at least they could be civil with each other, if nothing else. That is, of course, we don't know all the ins and outs of everything that happened here. We only see what we can see. But I do kind of like the idea of making sure that closure is given, or that if neither one wants closure, that they can actually restart things. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you guys for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Take care.